Good evening, this is Leonard Smith from Sense Memory. And this is October, and as a friend of mine, Scott, says, it's the season of the witch. And tonight we're going to be discussing a very bewitching perfume. And in honor of that bewitching perfume, I'm making a cocktail that was made famous in the film Rosemary's Baby, all about witches in New York. So we'll pour this drink and have our little review. But first, what is in this drink? It is called a Vodka Blush, and it's made up of 1.5 ounces of vodka, a splash of grenadine, a 1/2 ounce of lime juice, and then you top it off with a sprig of rosemary. So here's to Rosemary, her baby, to Halloween, and to a very, very bewitching fragrance. Cheers. That's magic. Back in 1984, it was said that this fragrance had the spirit of Coco Chanel within it. Coco, l'esprit de Chanel. And here it is. The beautiful Coco by Chanel, created in 1984 by Jacques Polge. It's the nose. And before I go any further, I want to say thank you to Dr. Marlon Elliott Harrison from Fragrantica, who sent me a little sample to try when he was during one of his reviews on Fragrantica in the what he calls the gender bender column. And he talks about different fragrances for men and for women that can be worn by both. And certainly Coco is one of them. So I want to thank Marlon for sending me that sample and really turning me on to the beauty of this fragrance. Also, I'm going to link below reviews by two very different kinds of reviewers with wonderful points of view about this particular fragrance. One will be Super Jacob, look for his link down below, and the other one is the wonderful Portia Turbo from Australian Perfume Junkies. They are both wonderful reviews, and I certainly think that it would be worth your time to go and take a look at them. Entertaining and educational each. So on with this fragrance. Coco, as I mentioned, was created by Jacques Polge in 1984. It is classified as an Oriental spicy. Its main accords are balsamic, amber, warm and spicy, sweet and powdery. The notes within the fragrance are top notes of coriander, mandarin orange, peach, jasmine, and Bulgarian rose, mid notes of mimosa, cloves, orange blossoms, clover, and rose, more rose, and then the base notes are of labdanum, amber, sandalwood, tonka bean, opopanax, civet, and vanilla. Good old civet, that nasty little animal running around in that bottle, making it just glorious. So, what do I think about this fragrance? Well, as I said in my introduction, it is magical. This beautiful, of course, beautiful bottle that is designed in the very same vein as the classic number 5 bottle is a treat just to have and to hold because it's so iconic, that shape, that wonderful shape. I've been wearing it since about 6 o'clock this morning, and it's now 6:30. So on this arm I have the dry down, and here I have the opening. And that opening is just brilliant. Now this is a brand new bottle, the so-called reformulation, and I don't remember what the original Coco smelled like. I remember smelling it, but I can't recall what it felt like. But I certainly think that this is a wonderful creation, this formulation of the current formulation of Coco. It opens with this incredibly wonderful coriander, and that mandarin orange and the peach and the jasmine just dance around and explode. It's almost aldehydic in its opening. And it is intoxicating. It's drug-like in its beauty. And as it progresses, as it moves into that wonderful mimosa and the cloves and the orange blossoms and that wonderful little green touch of clover mixed in with that rose, the rose in the top, which is a Bulgarian rose, and this wonderful red rose, it becomes almost like a temple incense. Almost it's like something you would burn in a temple to worship some kind of Greek or Roman god. It is transcendent. It really is. It's transcendent. It really is almost like a prayer to the gods, which we know perfume back in the time of the Egyptians and the Greeks and Romans was used in temples to facilitate their prayers to heaven. So it has that aspect going for it. It is one of the most magical perfumes I think I've ever smelled. Now, in the base we have the labdanum, that wonderful, sexy labdanum, and the amber and the sandalwood. The amber is rich and almost honey-like. It's so golden. It's just incredibly golden. And we have the vanilla coming up from the tonka bean. This kind of vanilla tonka bean is not a harsh is the wrong word. It's not a super sweet vanilla. You never get that headachy vanilla that sometimes happens in fragrances. But here is where the civet comes in the dry down. Well, I'll tell you, that civet flirts around with you all the way through. It wags its little tail in the beginning, and then it gets nastier as the perfume moves on. It becomes playful, flirty, romantic, and just really sexy. The fragrance, it works like I'm at a loss for words. I can't tell you what it works like. It just works you over. Let's put it that way. It works your emotions, your senses. It opens you up to wonderful feelings. Wonderful, wonderful feelings. It certainly would be a great perfume to be wearing the moment you fell in love. I have to say that. Now, this fragrance was introduced in 1984, a year after Karl Lagerfeld came into the creative aspect of being the head of Chanel, and he brought a lot with him, including this wonderful sense of romance, and it certainly is a nod to the spirit of Coco Chanel. It, as Super Jacob says, it's not Chanel, but it is. It really is, and it was a wonderful introduction to this great period in the 80s when Karl Lagerfeld had his most beautiful creations in the House of Chanel. So back now to the perfume itself. As I said, it works great for men and for women. It is spicy. It's not super floral. It's more aromatic and billowy and embracing. It's not something that I would definitely not classify it as a woman's perfume. I think it is definitely unisex. And it has an incredible longevity. Here, it's still working after 12 and a half hours. It's in the dry down. It's very, very warm, very comforting. But it certainly goes through a gamut of emotions, from the sparkling, fun, exciting opening to that rosy and incensey romantic center, and then a warm, cozy dry down. It lasts a long time. It has a wonderful sillage, not spectacularly kind of hitting you in the back of the head with that shovel sillage, which is something I never ever cared for. It's enticing. And it works for, I would say, I wore it to work today. I mean, it certainly worked in the work situation. I got lots of compliments. But it really would be a great fragrance for for going out in the evening. I would say more evening than daytime, but you can get away with it. I like to wear formal fragrances sometimes in a very casual situation, and definitely this one works for me in both situations. So there we have my take on the incredibly beautiful Coco by Chanel. A great fragrance, a classic fragrance. I think a fragrance that really stands the test of time and stands alongside many great fragrances that can be both worn by men and women. This is Lanier Smith from Sense Memory saying, remember, wear what you love and not what they say you like. Cheers.